So I'm here today at a Cincinnati suburb attraction known as Entertainment Junction. It claims to be the world's largest model train display in the entire world. I've been to Wonderland in Germany, which also claimed the same thing, so I don't know if this recently took the title. But an interesting fact about this place is that it will be closing in January, so this might be one of the last videos anybody will ever make of this place, so I hope to make a good impression of it. Alright, so these displays basically go through each era of train history. And this one's the earliest one, starting in the 1860s, I believe, to the 1880s. I can really only speculate how much work went into designing all these models. I mean, from afar, and especially on camera, I'm sure this is very convincing. Like the last exhibit I went to like this in Germany, it looked like absolutely real on camera once you actually take it out of its like real life context. And I do have to give it to people, like they put a lot of work into making this. Wow, did you see that? The train stopped for each other. This is more complicated than I ever would have expected. Alright, so that was the Civil War late 1800s section. We're now entering the Middle Railroad period from the 1940s to the 1950s. And it looks like the models are getting more from like a natural sort of display to more of like a modern city. And I have to say, this is an absolutely gigantic display. Like, this is probably bigger than the square footage of my house, I'm gonna be quite honest. Wow, even the car models look absolutely fantastic. Wow, I love the little streetcar. Apparently, the very first little train they invented was developed in 1829. It was called the Tom Thumb. As you can tell, it's pretty rudimentary. It looks literally just like a big boiler that they just put on wheels. And they even have a little quiz right here. Okay, it says, Abraham Lincoln approved the standard gauge railroad of the United States track. I'm going to say false. Oh, he did. Okay, the first president to ride in a train was Andrew Jackson. I think he might have been before, so I'm going to answer false on that one as well. Oh, really? I guess I really suck at this. So what I really love about this model is it's kind of just like this 30s kind of metropolis kind of style. I don't know if this is actually based on like New York City or anything. I see there's the Fox Theater, which I want to say is in Detroit for some reason, but I just really like it. Like, it's just really well done. It looks like kind of just like a best case scenario 1930s, 40s, just kind of America. And it's just very beautiful to look at. That police car down there kind of looks like the sheriff from Cars. Not that I've watched the movie in like 10 or 15 years, but I just find that kind of interesting. So most of you have probably heard of Coney Island, New York. And obviously that's the most famous Coney Island. But Cincinnati, Ohio used to also have a Coney Island. I'm not sure if it was owned by the same people or not. I'll do some research on that. But they made here at Entertainment Junction an entire 1/24th scale replica of Coney Island from back in the day. And it even has all these working models. Like, they got all these buttons down here where you can just activate all these pieces. And my personal favorite is they have a working roller coaster ride over here. So Coney Island, the one in Ohio, basically it ran until about 1971 because repeated floods where it was close to the river basically destroyed the park more than once. So anyway, the fun fact is Kings Island was actually created as a replacement for Coney Island that was farther away from the river and immune to the floods. So I just think it's really interesting, but that's why we have Kings Island today instead of a Coney Island. So in the 1930s, there were obviously a lot of people without work, and there were, of course, a lot of hobos. The hobos would give each other signs like these in order to like give information about whether a good person works here, or a person lives here, or you can catch a train and not get caught. I just think it's kind of interesting they had this. I had no idea that hobo culture was so advanced because, you know, they were hobos. All right, another quiz. Casey Jones, the heretical engineer, was a real person. I think I've read this story. Yep, it is a true story. But I'm not entirely sure how accurate the Grateful Dead song was. I heard he wasn't actually using a particular controlled substance when he crashed, but I heard he is a true thing. So I love how they have a whole display here just for like the famous train robbers. Of course, Jesse James is on here, but it's just kind of interesting that pretty much as soon as they came out, people were like, I wonder if I could steal. So now we are in the modern train era, and this appears to be a model of Seattle. I can see the Space Needle back there, which they cleverly disguised from being a beam. And there's a Boeing building. I have to say, this is definitely ornate. This one is so detailed. You can even see individuals in the office building behind me. Isn't that cool? So they even got their own little subway stop here, which I think is just absolutely grand. Now, I am curious if that billboard down there is just a very interestingly placed advertisement, or if it's actually like a real company out in Seattle. But I just think it's funny they put like a real billboard out there. It's supposed to be nighttime now, and I love how the building's just lit up. It's pretty cool. So what just passed by was a B&O Railroad train, a Baltimore, Ohio Railroad train. And if you ever see B&O Railroad on a Monopoly board, that's actually the company it's referring to. So this appears to be the end of the modern exhibit. I still think it's pretty cool they did this, like this whole train yard. But you gotta give people the credit for putting all the hours into this, because I mean, this looks really, really good. So there is also a fun house here at Entertainment Junction. I don't really have time for that today. Maybe one of you could check it out for me and tell me how it is. But it looks like I can get going here. So anyway, that was Entertainment Junction here in Westchester, Ohio. I do have to say I feel a little bad that I was upset that a train actually stopped me from getting here right away. I think it's a little ironic now, but it's still a really cool place to check out. And of course, it closes in January of 2025. And especially if you have little kids who would enjoy something like this, I definitely do think it's worth checking out. I spent about an hour in there myself, but just keep in mind the clock's ticking on being able to see this place. So.